finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. Yeah, I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. Let me tell you how I know. I had to get up off the floor. I had to get it out the mud. I had to finally let it go. I know my mama told me so, but she could never really know that when a boy was getting older, that his mind was getting sober, yeah. But I'm getting closer now. I had a church, but I closed it down. Had to reverse the emotions. I had to apologize. Selling eternity, willing to die. I was just living a lie. Walking by faith and ignoring the sight. Better off rolling the dice. And what I'm saying is that I'm living and I've learned. I've given and I've earned enough of my concern. And if I'm living, then I'm living on my terms. Call it a lesson learned, but it's finally been confirmed. I finally got the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. Yeah, I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. I can't stop loving an authenticity. I can't stop loving me. I can't stop loving an authenticity. I can't stop loving me.
Well, hello and welcome to Bridge City Global. Bridge City is a group of people from all over the globe committed to building community beyond superstition. My name is Chris Mallard, and I'm the host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show, a sister network working in collaboration with Bridge City Global. I'm so glad that you're here with us for another weekend of Sunday Sessions. Since March of last year, the Bridge City Community Experiment has grown from 52 to over 9,200 subscribers across 6 continents. Whether you're watching alone, with a friend, or with a group, we invite you to participate in these transformative conversations with us as we work together as a community to connect over personal exploration and global elevation. Consider joining our Discord campus and introducing yourself. Speaking of community, if you happen to get here early on Sundays, consider dropping in on our pre-session meet and greets in Discord to get to know some of our awesome community members. Major shout out to Atheist Odyssey for hosting a Sunday Session watch party. We appreciate you and we love you. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the alert notification bell, and if you don't mind, share it to your social media. It really does help. Check out the poll in the chat to let us know if you're a first-time guest or a repeat offender. Consider joining, supporting, or connecting with this channel, content, or community in any way that makes sense for you. And check out our merch and our books by following the links in the chat. Before we move on to our next segment of the session, if you find this community and these conversations valuable, as I mentioned a second ago, please take a moment to share this stream so that it reaches someone who might be in some sincere need of secular community this weekend. And if you just shared this, will you let us know in the chat by typing, I shared this? Send safely, my friends. Now, on with the show.
Hey guys, it's Sunday. My name is Troy Stober, Dr. Troy Stober, also known as The Deepest Hell. Got a book and a podcast coming out. I'm your host for this weekend's edition of Bridge City News. First and foremost, whether this is your first time or you've been here for a long time, let us know where you're watching from. Our community is intentional about identifying local hubs of support so that we can continue to accelerate the work of building community beyond superstition. On February 23rd, Darante LaMar will be making his second appearance on Maya Atkinson's Bad Science Sundays, so keep a lookout. Were you able to watch Darante yesterday on Myth Vision. If not, we're going to put a link in the chat for you to watch later, so you won't be disappointed. And that is where I'm going directly after this session. Join us back on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central for another Bible study with an ex-pastor. It's going to be another great one. Last week, AT Coffee joined us, and we had a good time. We have some dope new merchandise available also, so don't forget to check that out. If you have some extra time after the show, consider hanging out with some of our awesome members on Discord. Every Sunday, our community hosts a pre-session meet and greet and post-session hangout for those who want to continue the conversation and for those who might be curious about our community. It's a great way to make some new connections and cultivate community, so we'd love to see you there. If you have any upcoming community events that you'd like for us to add to our news segment, please drop your announcements in the Promote Stuff channel in Discord with the hashtag BridgeCityNews. And if you're curious as to how many people are working hard to make this community possible, be sure to stay to the end of the show and take a look at the credits. On with the show.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to, of course, it's our Sunday sessions. And of course, I'm kind of in the dark over here, but we're going to make it do what it do. I actually wasn't planning on doing a music portion today. And then, right after we kind of wrapped up our notes and everything, I came by the piano and I had this little medley, one of those things that came to mind. And I wanted to share a little bit of this with you. This one will be short, but I think it goes in line with what we're talking about today and how we're closing out this conversation. We're going to play around with it a little bit, and we'll see. Did I freeze up on y'all? All right, here we go. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I can't tell you what will work, I can't tell you what won't hurt. I can share these lessons learned from my emptiness, and I don't know what will go wrong, and I won't dwell on that for long. What I know is that I gotta keep moving, 'cause I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, and I feel I'm running on empty, but don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. And I tell you I've done it on empty. And I tell you I'm running on empty, yeah. I'm running on empty. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Like I told you, it would be brief, but I wanted to share that, and I hope it did something for you. And I'll jump over into the other side of the studio so we can get this conversation started.
Hello, everyone. We are back for another one. Thank you all for joining us. And make sure I'm getting, is the right camera?
Yep, I think that's the right camera. It looks like the right camera. Oh, man.
Today. Yes, how y'all feeling out there? I hope y'all doing all right. I hope y'all enjoy that song. I'm a dancer, so that song kind of pulls a dance routine out of me for sure.
It definitely went a lot harder than I was not expecting to sing it that hard, but dang, that one felt really good. That one felt really good. Let me get my chat popped out here so I can see everybody, man. Thank y'all so much for being with us today. That's the only bad part to me about when I do the music is that I can't see the chat live while it's happening. And so I feel like I'm missing out on so much, but man.
You said beautifully, that's good.
Oh, that's awesome.
You just made that up today.
Like that's like it was like honestly because I wasn't gonna do music today. I didn't have anything pre-recorded and I just went over to the keys a little bit because this week it's been a very interesting week and we're gonna share a little bit about that. We'll share a little bit about that. But those words came first. The medley came, just that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. And so I just, I kind of played around with it a little bit, scat with it. And then when I just started hearing that running on empty, and I was like, damn, that's definitely where I had been feeling like for a while. And just combined with this series that we've been in, it just worked perfectly. Yeah. It worked perfectly.
Sharon said, tour dates, please.
Oh man, we gotta make it happen. All right, so let's jump into this, and as we're gonna go through some stuff, and then I'm actually gonna bring up Chris with us, and if Troy is still hanging out, we may bring him up too to jump into this conversation. We want to have a community conversation today. This series has been a catalog of admittedly bold conversations with a focus on remaining resilient and authentic, even during tough times. And my honest goal has been to position our community to journey well in the face of rising fascism, and to encourage us all to find ways to hold on to what is important, even when life is giving you all the reason in the world to let go. And I guess a major part of my deconversion was this recognition that life is indifferently intolerable at times. And shrinking from the responsibility of that reality rarely serves us well. That if things are to improve in this society, it will be the result of the collective effort of individuals who've cracked the code of being, dare I say it, unfuckwithable. In the midst of this series, I've had a few realities that I've been wrestling with myself. One of those has been limited time and scheduling conflicts. I think some of you were seeing that I was definitely running myself up against the bricks. Planning limitations for our BridgeCity weekend events, and then just what the next steps were for our channel, for our community, and for this sort of campaign that I've committed myself to. I could be tripping, but I feel that over the past 11 months, we've started to build something that is not only valuable, but also seemingly effective in sparking a greater interest in the efficacy of secular community. And really, that's where those lyrics come from. I'm on the edge of something incredible, even though I feel like I'm running on empty. And that's why it's like, hey, don't feel sorry for me, though, because I'm just getting started up. And everything that we've done so far, guess what? We did this on empty. Like it's an interesting place. And since November of last year, I've been thinking hard about what that means for us. And as a former pastor and church planner, this line of thinking has very interesting implications for me that are admittedly uncomfortable. So I found myself on the fence of convincing myself that it was time for me to start considering giving my full-time attention to this work that I absolutely find so vital. And for some of you, that may seem pretty clear-cut and dry, but my neurospicy doesn't really work like that. And so, because this is really threefold for me, right? There is the channel, there is the community, and then there's the campaign. The channel is a window into all the projects that I am personally passionate about and professionally committed to. And, y'all have heard us talk about that as in DLDD World Group, but pretty much the merge, the music, the books, as well as a variety of other people-centric projects. Some of you know that I've been working on an app called Mastermind for a while. And I say working on loosely because I haven't worked on it in a while. I worked on it for a while.
Yeah.
But in order to start building this, I had to pull away from that. But that's that branch. This channel is a window into all of those people-centric projects, because that's a major part of that mission of DLDD World Group, is to cultivate a global hub of authentic leadership. People who are committed to finding ways to creatively move our world forward. And so that's what the merch is about. That's what the books are about. That's what the music is about. But then there's the community, which most of you are more familiar with. That's the Bridge and Bridge City. These are the live shows like this one. This is the Discord campus. Like, if you're not on Discord, why are you not in Discord? Get in there. And eventually on-site events and local campuses that meet weekly and support their local communities. That's the community aspect. That's the aspect that we spend, honestly, the most time talking about in our live shows. And I do quite a bit of seeding that through our weekly content as well. But then there's also the campaign, which we talk about the least, but you actually hear about the most. We say these three words in every Sunday session we have, and that is together we can. You're going to hear those three words almost every time we do something. Together we can. And that's a commitment to cultivate conversations and collective work toward global social progress. I think I've always been very clear about this. My journey to humanism came through Black nationalism and Pan-Africanism. That's my journey to humanism. I came here with a deep concern, not for just what happens in Alabama, not for just what happens in the US, not for just what happens on the North American continent, but what is happening on this globe, what is happening to us collectively as a species. And so these are the three things, the three big things that I'm constantly wrestling with. So the big point here is that this is actually a lot to think through. And over the past few weeks, I've been struggling to wrap my mind around where to start, how to start, and when to start next steps. And I was planning on using this year to do some traveling for our Bridge City weekend events, to get us out in the field of actually doing work and generating more interest. At minimum, we were going to travel in, meet up, and build community. And that felt like a really great start, until I realized that I still hadn't solved my time problem. I didn't have the time to commit to training anybody to help with the planning process, I'm building everything kind of like in between work and all of this. To which my wife and I responded by sitting down and thinking through how we could restructure our approach to the community to give our leaders and supporters more support. And we were pretty confident we had it worked out. Tuesday, we had the meeting, and I felt really good. And then the very next day, I received the unfortunate, though not unexpected news that my role was being ramped down immediately at work to cut costs after contentious contract negotiations with the client and a surprise buyout. Oh, this might be a good place to introduce today's title to the conversation, and that is, where do we go from here? Like, if you're if you're already accustomed to how we do at Bridge City Global, will you go ahead and type that in the chat? Just, where do we go from here? And if you're really good about it, go ahead and tag somebody and say, hey, you, where do we go from here? Because that's damn sure how I felt Wednesday when I received the news that I would no longer have an income. Where the fuck do we go from here? What do you do from here? And I'll let you take this next spot, babe.
All right. So before we dive,
oh no, I see. I didn't see that. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so yeah, there we go. Where do we go from here at Dr. Troy? Yes. Where do we go from here, Chris? Where do we go from here, Miss Non Sequitur? Where do we go from here, Renegade? Alyssa, where do we go from here?
God will provide. Okay.
Come on, hallelujah. Won't he do it? Won't he will? Somebody tell me. Now let me stop. But no, where do we go from here? This whole series, I've been talking about being unfuckwithable, and then life decides to fuck with me this week.
Don't it always?
Don't it always happen that way? Mark Coley is in the chat. Oh man. Oh my goodness. Now secretly he don't know this, but I've been trying to recruit him for a minute. So we're gonna see how this thing work out. But before we dive into where we go from here, I want to take a moment to reflect on a question Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. posed in his groundbreaking book of the same title, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? Because interestingly enough, we opened this conversation with Dr. King. So it's only appropriate that we close it in the same way. Oh, snap, Myth Vision sent Darla. That's beautiful. Ooh, help for a little step. Glad you have been reflecting on your work and your work life and life's work balance. Man, thank you for that, Kurt. I appreciate you in ways that you could not imagine. Now, don't y'all start this and have your boy up here crying today. Now, we're not going to do this. Don't you have me crying. But no, that is absolutely lovely. We appreciate you. Dr. King, in the midst of the civil rights movement, understood deeply that society stood at a crossroads. Grappling with two opposing futures. He argued that we could either descend into chaos, suffocated by division, hatred, and fear, or we could rise together and build the kind of community that could overcome these forces and create a just and equitable world.
Oh, thank you, Coach.
Oh, damn it, Mark. I told y'all don't start this now. Wow, like shit. Okay, 990. Blessed be. Y'all gonna have my heart hurting today. I appreciate you so much, brother. Like beautiful.
Yes. So his words resonate now more than ever. We face the challenges of today, the rising tide of fascism, systemic oppression, and societal breakdown. We stand at this same crossroads, and honestly, there hasn't been a time when we don't stand in the face of adversity or controversy, right? And the question we must ask ourselves is simple yet profound. Will we choose chaos or will we choose community? Now, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know what
chaos is
Lord
a ladder.
Baelish would say. Chaos is a ladder.
Yes.
Okay, but King's vision for community was one grounded in unity, justice, and love, a collective effort where each individual contributes to the whole. And in doing so, we all rise together. Yes. Don't you love that word together? Why be so individualistic? Let's do it together. Let's rise together.
Wow.
And we have another
That's
super
beautiful.
chat. I don't know if it's Michelle or Michelle, girl, but Thank you. Happy to be here. The work you are doing is so important. We definitely appreciate that. And yes, it is. And remember, the work that you all do each and every day is important to your lives and the whole as well. So keep rising on, keep going on.
I agree, Alyssa. I can't just abandon my love for the chaos.
And so, as this is the vision we must embrace now, we are witnessing the destruction that chaos brings, disconnection, division, and destruction of the very values that hold us together. But we also have the opportunity, just as Dr. King did, to choose community. We can choose to rebuild, reconnect, and reaffirm the fundamental truths of human dignity, empathy, and solidarity. Isn't that awesome, though? You get a choice. Never feel like your choice is taken away from you. You choose every minute of the day. So why not choose to do it together? Why not choose community, right?
Yes.
And so as a community, we must decide if we will remain passive spectators or if we will be active participants in creating the kind of world where everyone can thrive. And that is the thing. We must always be active, even if it's something small. We have a lot going on in our individual lives, but every day, think of what can I do to impact the world, to make it a better place? What can I do as my part in society? So keep in thinking as that. And the work of community building is not easy. It requires courage, commitment, and sacrifice. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But it requires that we rise above the forces of division and fight for something greater, something that binds us together in a shared purpose. So in the face of so much division, injustice, and adversity, Dr. King asks an essential question: will we continue down a path of chaos, or will we choose to build a community where we come together in support of one another?
And so as I've kind of navigated my own personal challenges recently, like the unexpected job loss and the hurdles that come with it, I've been forced to reckon with this question in a similar way. What's next? On one hand, the chaos of unforeseen setbacks and the overwhelm of uncertainty are very, very real. But in so many ways, this has been a conversation that we as a community have been preparing for since the very beginning. Like immediately, I thought about the Please Don't Stop the Music conversation series, where that's what we talked about, that life is chaos, you know, and that we are able to respond to that chaos. You see, y'all ain't right, man. Troy. Dang it. Thank you, Dr. Troy. This is man. Yeah. Oh, yikes. Oh man, I realized I didn't do the survey today on the thing. That's man.
Oh yeah, we did.
That is beautiful. Thank you all so much. I love this community. So yeah, but on the other hand, this is an opportunity for us to double down on community. This community, our community, is an incredible testament to resilience, growth, and unity and collaboration in action. As we continue to see our community grow, despite these challenges, it reminds me that we are not simply surviving. We're not simply gathering. We're building something stronger. We are assembling. We are thriving. And I believe that the adversity that we face is even playing a role to help push us towards more focused and intentional commitment to community. Now more than ever, we can embrace community within the chaos, both personally and collectively.
Yes, let me see how old you are in the chat. It's morphing time.
It's morphing time, right?
We all come.
We see all around us what happens when too many of us are idle. Come on,
yes,
absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
Love it.
Baby said morphing time.
It's morphing time. Come on with it.
I used to kill it when I was a kid, man.
For real, right?
What's
so where do we go from here as individuals and as a community? The choice before us is clear, right? We can either allow the chaos of the world around us to dictate our next steps, or we can lean into the work of building a community grounded in mutual support, empowerment, and shared purpose. If you listen to a few songs, we can lean with it and we can rock with it.
Okay. I didn't see that coming, but okay. We dance on the lines of chaos. I love that, Mark. Yes.
With it. So we had a remarkable year of growth. So proud of my husband just stepping out on faith, if you will, on his own faith. Okay, can we say it all right? And while loss has brought a series of challenges, it has also reinforced the importance of what we're doing here, building a space where people can thrive, find support, and rise together. So the choice of community means moving forward with intention, all right? Yes. It means making the effort to invest in each other, to stay connected, and to create spaces where we rise together. There goes that word again. That's the word of the day, okay?
Man. Whew. So as we move forward, I want us to think about how we can contribute to the vision. Let's continue to lean into this journey of collective growth. Let's stay focused on the opportunities to uplift one another and reject the forces that attempt to pull us apart. The road ahead is not without its challenges, but it's full of potential. And that is the potential to turn every setback into a setup for something greater and every obstacle into an opportunity for progress. So before we actually answer the question of where do we go from here, I want to talk through what have we done since, you know? In other
Yeah.
words, how have we responded to this setback? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't get these notes done until this morning because it took me 3 hours to get through the introduction. It took me 3 hours yesterday after getting off of Myth Vision, because I've thought all week, like, what the hell are we going to talk about this weekend after this? I'm having to postpone my Bridge City Weekends events. Like, what are we going to talk about? And so after the Myth Vision interview, I sat down, locked myself in. For 3 hours, I struggled to write that 5-minute introduction. And then once I wrote that 5-minute introduction, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh, I know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about where do we go from here? And we're going to talk about what we've done since, because, oh my goodness, this was like, man, if I was still a pastor, I'd say, now this wasn't nobody but God, because this was a setup out of this fucking world. This was beautiful. Watch this. What we're going to talk about is what have I done since, and then we'll talk about where we're going to go from there. And that's when we're going to pull up some other folks, because we're going to all talk about this together. But I want to talk about the 4 things I've done since I received the news on Wednesday. When I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? I asked myself 4 very important questions. And for those of you who have been a part of this series the previous 4 weeks, you're going to feel me right here. The first question I asked myself is, how can I crown me? That was the first question. Do y'all remember how we opened up this series? The first conversation was crown me, right? So the first thing I did to kind of recalibrate was I checked my performance and my resume. I checked my stats. Come on now, y'all don't want to talk to me. No, hold on, let me check. This was important to center myself and safeguard against unsubstantiated shame, which is a natural response of grieving an unexpected loss. You know what I'm saying? So I said, you know what? There you go, Ember. Or at least the tiara. Come on now. So I checked my performance. I checked my resume. I looked at the type of work that I've done in the corporate field. I looked what's still on my resume and what I can add to my resume now. And I said, nah, bro, you still good. You still good. I checked my stats. I looked at our subscribers. I looked at our views. I looked at our ad revenue. I looked at our sales. I looked at our growth. And I said, okay, you're still good. So yes, I've taken a hit. Oh yeah, I've taken a hit. And it's going to take some time to adjust. But before I make any other adjustments, I had to make some time to adjust my crown. I hope y'all ready today. I didn't come to preach, but you know, sometimes when you're taking a hit, before you touch anything else, make sure you adjust your crown to let everybody know, and to let yourself know, most importantly, that no, I am still good. The crown is still in place. Baby, you about to say something?
Yeah, because I'm like, sometimes you got to be your own cheerleader. I don't need anybody else.
Oh no, yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And when we talked about that crown me, that crown me is responsibility. That crown, that royalty. The language of royalty is responsibility and resilience. What I know, life happened, circumstances changed. I'm still me. Nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move the lips. Just a bunch of gibberish. People out there, they forgot about Darante. Let me tell you something. Now, no, I'm still me, still the same OG. What did she say? She's still Jenny from the block. I'm still me. You understand? So I'm still responsible. Ain't nothing changed. I'm still the same, and I still have the capacity to be resilient. So the first question I ask myself is, how can I crown me? How can I make sure that my crown is still okay? For those of you who paid attention, for those of you who've been with us for the past few weeks, you should already know what my second question was. How can I squad up? Oh my goodness. What did baby just say a few minutes ago? It's morphin' time. Nope. I said, nope. How can I squad up? I used to tell people all the time, I don't practice what everybody else preach, but God damn it, I practice what I preach. And we've been talking to our community for a whole month about the importance of crowning yourself, squadding up, fighting forward, and bouncing back. So when life hit, what do you think I did? I started practicing what I had been preaching. And so that second question was, how can I squad up? I checked my circle. I said, how am I appreciating, maximizing, and investing in relationships with people who share a connection, excuse me, who share a connection with this channel, with this community, and with this campaign. I've talked to Chris more this week than I've probably talked to anybody in a long time. No, how am I appreciating, maximizing relationships? My wife and I have talked, how can we support the people who are connecting with us? How can we do more? So to pull from that, because y'all were part of that squad up conversation when we had it, y'all were a part of that conversation. What I've had to practice this week was some radical transparency. I had to literally message Chris and be like, hey, bruh, I know we were working on some things. I just lost my fucking job. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't make just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not a small hit.
Yeah.
It's a big one. It's a big one. Please don't let this next one fool you. My radical positivity. Sometimes people see me so positive and they think I ain't going through nothing. I'm like, no, nothing could be further from the truth. I just don't engage in a lot of uselessness, which means there's no need of me breaking down, tearing myself down. No, I'm going to stay at it. So, okay, I gave you radical transparency.
Yeah, and I want to say that's why it's important being on here. Even though we on here, I always wanted for my husband and I to keep our authenticity.
Yes.
Because we are genuine people and we want to really impact the world in a positive way. We always been like that since we were younger. But we want to show that even when doing life, even when you're moving 5 steps up, even when you feel like, oh, I'm finally getting somewhere, that life happens and that we have to navigate through that. And for you to understand, whoever you're seeing, whoever you're watching, like, oh man, they are navigating life too. And so if they can do it, that means I can do it. So don't let up ever. Whatever is going on, keep doing what you're doing, but you got to remember, hey, it is in what I do next. What is my next move? What is my next action?
And since we're still in Black History Month, I'll pull something from Malcolm X. He said, even illness becomes wellness when we change I into we. And that brings me to that next one, which is radical partnership. It is absolutely looking at what can we do together? How can we work together? I think that's one of the things that sets this channel and this community apart from a lot of stuff is we're not looking for people to be enemies of. We're not looking for people to say, oh, I don't like their style. I don't like the cut of their jib. I don't like the way they, we are looking for people to work with. We are looking for radical partnership. People who share the vision deserve to share in the victory. And we can all work to get there. I told y'all I was a Pan-Africanist, so every now and then I'm going to pull some of those principles. One of those principles is Harambe, which means things are hard to pull when you're trying to pull them by yourself. But if we will pull them together, Pamoja Tunaweza, that's Swahili, together we can, which means if everybody gets a part. You know, have you ever been in a place in your life where you felt like everything was so broken apart that there was nothing you could do to pull it together? See, the problem is the solution. You couldn't pull it together because we weren't pulling it together. That's literally the problem. We have become so locked up in our individualism that we can't even pull ourselves together because we don't know how to pull together. I'm doing something with the language there, but I hope you get what your boy is saying. Sometimes you're not going to be able to pull yourself together. And listen, life is a contact sport. Life is a community sport. We need everybody's hands on this. Damn, this got good.
Yeah. And when you were saying that pull together, I was thinking of tug and war.
Yes.
You know, when you need people, you don't just need one person. You need everybody in there tugging.
We got
think of the other side as opposition, as distractions, as things that's coming up that will feel like it's pulling you down. But you got to remember, if you have more than one person helping you tug on that rope, tug to your side of victory, then you're like, okay, I get it. If we use our strength together, if we use our knowledge, if we use our influence, if we use what we have, we can win.
We can
We
win.
can pull to the other side, right?
That's it. And, you know, and that's, you know, and we've tried to sprinkle this through so many of our conversations is one of the biggest hindrances to this is you're going to have to learn how to differentiate how you see value. Because one of the biggest problems with us, especially on this side of the globe, one of the biggest problems with us is we think value is predefined. So we try to put people in these neat little boxes, and we say if you don't fit in this box, then you're not valuable. If you don't do your stuff like this, then you have no value. Until you understand, this is why not only are we progressive thinking and people centric, we are also life affirming, because all life experience brings value to our understanding of the whole equation. See, that's why we're critical thinkers around here. Damn, this is good. Okay, so the first question, when you get hit by something like this, in the middle of something like this, do you know how devastating that feels? It's like being in the championship and you won't get paid yet. This is the time that, you know, if I win this one, then this is going to set it up. Mama going to be good. She going to get the big house. We going to Disney World. You like that? And then you going up for the dunk. And then somebody comes up under you and takes your legs from under you. And then the ambulance has to come. And then you're sitting there wondering, am I ever going to be able to play the game again? You know what I'm saying? It's devastating to be in the middle of this and get that. But what do you do when life hits you? Adjust that crown. Check that squad. What's the third question? How can I fight forward? That's my third question. My first question, how can I crown me? How can I make sure that I'm still good? How can I make sure that I still have my place? I still have my seat, that personally, mentally, emotionally, I'm okay. That socially, I'm okay. That when I look myself in the mirror, I know, hey, bro, you did the best that you could do. This ain't on you. You got to have that. Check that crown. But then also check your squad. Start looking at people, man. I'm looking at people like Kyle, like Alyssa, man, developing a partnership with Chris, man. Like this is, no, checking the squad. But now, how can I fight forward, right? Because I can't just sit here and all of that. I can't just adjust this crown and say, boy, you look good. And just say, okay, you got a good crown. No, now there's some work that I have to do. So how can I fight forward? Pulling from that conversation, I have to turn these negatives into positives, right? So this is a saying that I often use in life because I tell you, anytime bad news used to come to me before, I used to get broken down so bad that it would take me days, weeks, sometimes even months to recover. But I adopted a saying when when we went through one of the most difficult things in our lives back in 2016, where we lost everything. I adopted a saying then. I said, this is the right thing happening the wrong way. This is how I turn my negatives into positives. You know, I take that Fantasia Barrino approach. If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Go ahead and free yourself. I turn the negatives into positives. This is the right thing happening the wrong way, Darante. You wouldn't have planned this. You wouldn't have done this. But look at this for real, bro. This is the right thing. The negatives into positive. I have less daily toxicity, at least for the time being right now. And I have more time on my hands. So I turn my negatives into positives, but then also I got to turn my threats into opportunities. Now the threat is that I have less, and I'm going to have to wrestle with what less looks like for a family of 6. You know, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? And so, well, Darante, how do you take such a threat and turn that into an opportunity? I know we just unfroze up on the screen. Hopefully we'll come back. Okay, we back. So I have to turn that threat into an opportunity. Are you ready for this? This shouldn't be a surprise. If you've been a part of this community, you should almost already know what I'm about to say. How do I do that? I do more. I do. Oh, I love that. Eve, as I grow. Yes, I do more. If y'all know me, you already know it. If you watch my channel long enough, you used to see my little banners behind me. Do the work, do it right, do your best, and do the most. Yes, it's a race against the clock right now, but I can take advantage of this opportunity to do as much as I can to stabilize this channel, this community, and this campaign to serve as a better option than going back. You missed it. I'm fighting forward. I promise y'all this is good. This is why I partnered with Chris to add more targeted content and find ways to work together across our intersecting interests. So be prepared to see more from there. We've added several new products to our merch store, and we'll be expanding that to include digital products, including wallpapers, calendars, journals, music, and whatever else. I have at least 3 more books that are really close enough to finish that I could knock out within the first or second quarter. And then we have people in this community who are itching to get the work that I could be spending more time in. See, the whole point of that fight forward is finding a way to take a proactive approach to life situation. And then this last question, and then we're going to break out a little bit because this is from last week. And this was, how can I bounce back? And if you didn't catch last week's, the beautiful thing about YouTube is that it's still there, so you can go back and catch that one. But I'll give you the highlights real quick. I had to practice acceptance. I had to focus on what I can control. I had to immediately reorient and start working on a new goal. I had to keep myself thinking realistically, and I had to connect with others. Oh my goodness, that was so important. And then of course I had to take care of myself. So one of the things I did this week, our kids had a field trips, and so I got to go on the field trip. And I got to touch a shark and a ray. I did it. I did it.
So brave.
Take care of yourself. I had to work on problem solving skills, looking for, okay, Darante, what are the problems and which ones can I solve? And then of course, get help. So if you're dealing with a situation and you're trying to figure out how to bounce back, practice acceptance, focus on what you can control, work toward a new goal, think realistically, connect with others, take care of yourself, work on your problem solving skills, and get help. You see, that's where it is. Now, we're going to get ready to segue a little bit. And I want us to bring, if Chris and Troy are still in the back, I want us to bring them on screen too for this part of the conversation, or as we segue into this. Oh, baby shark, I couldn't help it because I want us to talk about where we go from here. And I've basically broken this down. We've broken this conversation down into 3 ways. We're gonna slow, and we'll talk about what that means. We're gonna grow, and we'll talk about what that means. And then we're gonna go to fuck off, and then we're gonna talk about what that means. But before we get there, I brought both Chris and Troy on stage with us today. First of all, thank you all so much for being willing to be a part of this conversation and the ways that you've already been supporting this community and partners. What are your thoughts on this conversation so far? Yes.
Well, I can start. I feel like when you look at religion and you look at faith, somebody once said to me, what good is faith if it's not able to be used when you need it? And I see sometimes, the religious community kind of bail when push comes to shove, and when it's really needed, and when you really have to have some confidence, and when you have to have a positive message. I think that there's a certain level of dishonesty, Darante, that everybody has in the back of their mind that, hey, man, I'm not really sure about this. I'm putting faith in something that may or may not really be there. It's just nothing that I can really truly say is a fact in my heart, like when push comes to shove. And so now this is an opportunity for you to actually show people what it's all about. I mean, if you ever wanted an opportunity to put your money where your mouth is, this is it. This is really it. I'm proud of you. I mean, you have a positive message that I don't think is gonna, fall on deaf ears. It's a meaningful thing. So that's my thought.
Yeah. I think this is a good opportunity to make an opportunity. You could retreat and run away from this, or you could just engage it And you've got everything over the
Yes.
past year or so. You have been managing and building all the foundation that you need. Sure, you were kind of pushed out there a little early, out of the nest a little earlier than you thought, but you've been building this for this purpose, to grow and change your situation. And hey, they made the choice for you, and you're going to handle it. And I think that's cool. I do. I'm excited for you, really. And you've got so many opportunities. Look at all the cool stuff you got going on. I mean, you've met like the Daily Atheist Morning Show guy, and you've also met that amazing Super Chris guy, and you've met what's that other guy's name? Chris Mallard.
He's good too. He's got your back. Deep as Hell's got your back. I tell you.
And the Deep as Hell too. Yeah, but I'm not a narcissist. No. Anyway, no. So you've got a lot going on for you, man. It's a perfect time. Run with it.
I feel like it's leadership too, because I mean, when you think about what it takes to put this all together and make it meaningful and make it profitable and make it a positive, end game, it takes some leadership. And there's just no easy way to grow. It takes strength. It takes a little bit of pain once in a while. But I mean, this has all come about in a very, I think, efficient way. I think you're a leader. And so when you have those kind of leadership skills, I don't have as many worries as you might think. I'm impressed. And so it takes a lot to impress me. My whole philosophy, I've always thought about being inefficient or people kind of working in opposite directions, not everybody getting on board with the same message and pulling in the same direction. And what I found with BridgeCity Global is this is a true community. Like when you say that, it means something. It means something to everybody, and everybody's on board pulling in the same direction. And that takes leadership, that takes vision, that takes a lot of motivation, a lot of elbow grease. And as far as I'm concerned, Darante, you've put in the time, and I think you're reaping the rewards, the benefits of all that hard work.
Wow.
Well, and you got a lot of community going on. Your community right now is exploding, which is fantastic. Everything you've got going in your way, you're making these new connections, you're being on these other shows, you're sacrificing your time to get your message out there. It's really going great. The Discord, we've got Discord, you've got Discord. It's going. If you guys are into Discord, we're doing some fantastic things. We're going to be doing some fantastic things with Darante in the Discord. Here's the thing, if I may. Yes. I don't know what you guys are talking about doing, but Darante is building a community. Okay? I am building a media network that aligns with that community. See, I've been kind of going over that in my head about trying to figure out my own mission and how we, as our teams, as our situations, our communities, because we both have communities, and this thing that's happening. I've been trying to think, there is a difference. Yeah. He is about building a community. I'm about building a network. I don't have the time or the mind or the energy to build a community. He doesn't really, I don't think, have the time to build a media network.
Right.
But we're doing these things separately. We're actually got plans on, we've been in talks with Darante, haven't got anything nailed down with Darante yet, but we're going to start taking the Daily Atheist Media Network Discord server and using it to house other content creators who don't have their own Discord servers, and we're going to create little places in there for them so we can kind of create this umbrella area for our community. Even I will, whenever you get in there, you'll see, and I'll just be one of many creators in the umbrella, with Chris, Darante, or whoever else is in the part of the thing, to get us as a media network under one house. And that way, we'll have that notification center. Darante goes live, bam, there'll be a notification in the Discord. Dr. Tony goes live, bam, there'll be a Discord notification. It'll be unified. And then, like right now, we all have different people spending different monies, different resources, all that to prop up different servers and all this stuff. But merged under one, it would take a fraction of that to make it even bigger. Absolutely. So it's kind of the thing. And then we've got a lot of really good plans to build our side of the media
Darante,
network, which goes fantastic.
I don't know if you realize this, Darante, but your name is truly recognizable. When I go across the market of secular humanism and I consume podcast, content from lots of different sources, you come up. People recognize you. I've been in conversations where you've been recognized. You've been recommended. You've been told to be sought out for. And when you look at the appearances that you've made, you're a veritable who's who of like brain trust. Okay, like I've seen like the smartest and the best in the business, and you're right there with them, and you're contributing. So that should tell you that you have something valuable to offer, and I think you have something valuable to offer. So,
y'all, I didn't expect this, and so but that goes back to that radical partnership aspect, right? And it's finding ways to work with more people. And that does segue perfectly into this, is that part of what we're going to be doing going from here is kind of slowing down a little bit, pacing, right? I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I used to do a video every single day, Monday through Friday. And they were like 2-hour dissertations, you know what I'm saying? And that's really, it's a paradox of time, right?
For 300 views, dude.
Right, yes. Right?
That's how it starts.
Oh, man. Oh, thank you, Kurt. Oh, that is beautiful. Man, small chats work too. Be brave, people. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually one of the reasons we're going into digital products too, because we realize everybody can't afford shirts and cups and all those things. So digital products allow us to create little small things like wallpapers and stuff that's just 99 cents, $1.99. And that lets everybody feel like they have a way to contribute without just having to give it away every time. But no, so one of those commitments is to start focusing more on our pacing and to becoming more selective about partnerships that are mutually beneficial to the mission of building community and empowering people. There are people who want to build channels, but they don't want to build community. There are people who want to build their reputations, but they don't want to build community. There are people who want to just tear down or expose the falsehoods of superstitious belief, but they don't want to build community. We exist for those people, but the people we're looking at partnering with are the people who are invested in community in some shape, form, or fashion. One of the beautiful partnerships that came just like almost right before this happened is Chris and I started working together a little bit more. And the past 2 videos I've done, Chris has helped us script out and produce. So I just sit in front of a camera and I record it and I send him over the videos, and then he does all of this fancy stuff to it. And he's like, I'll help you do this. I'll show you how to do this. And every time he says, I'll show you how to do this, I'll be like, I'm gonna pick somebody that we're gonna show how to do this, but I love it. We're gonna pick somebody and we're gonna show them how to do this. But I want y'all to know, like, that's how valuable his contribution has been. Because that's radical partnership. That's radical transparency. That's all of us looking at each other saying, how can we help? Oh man, thank you, Scotty. That is beautiful. Oh man, keep up the great work. A rising tide lifts all boats.
Wait, we gotta ask, does Scotty know?
Does Scotty know? Scotty doesn't know. Don't tell Scotty.
He doesn't know. I'm pregnant. Oh, wait. We weren't supposed to tell them.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Darante, you're right, though, man. When I think about, because like my whole podcast thing is, as you know, I'm a doctor. Yes. And I'm really big into stress physiology and the kind of impact, the physiologic impact that guilt and shame and all the anxiety that comes along with the baggage of religiosity. If you're talking about slowing down, it's the difference between being disorganized and chaotic and then getting a hold of your faculties. You have all of your strengths, all of your resources. That's the key to slowing down. Okay, so when stuff like this happens, honestly, Darante, I'm impressed, because a lot of people would be losing their ever living mind and they'd be looking like chickens with their heads cut off. And you seem like, I know you said you took a long time to put together your script for today's Sunday session, but you look like you have your act together, and I don't think that's an accident. I think, you have things kind of under control. I think that's where the slowness comes, because when stress comes like this, you have to rely on what you got. So
that's it.
It sure seems like you've done such a wonderful job being ready and being prepared. You've got all these nets out, everything ready to catch any kind of opportunity you can. And look, hey, it happened and your nets are out. So all you need to do, you don't gotta go, I gotta go write a book. You wrote the books. You've got everything ready. You got the merch ready. You got friends like the doc. I mean, it's just I'm proud of you too. You've done fantastic, especially in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
it's a testament.
This whole
to the
I
message
don't have
you
a cult of personality. Yeah, right. You ain't nothing but a ball of personality.
He's got a message, I'm telling you.
He does. And he also has the evil one over there on the other side.
Yes.
That his, I have my evil one. You got to have that. His strength, we know where his strength is. If he were Samson, she would be his hair.
Oh, I love that.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
That was good. That you zigged when I thought you were gonna zag.
You got some points. You got some points with that, Chris.
I started to say, yeah, thank you. Funny stuff came in my head, but I said the smart thing. That won't happen on the show.
I appreciate that, y'all. And that's what you got to be sometimes as a rock with your partner, because you have to be prepared for everything. And so me as his partner, I try not to let him see if something negative or bad happens or a change that's abrupt or sudden. I'm still like, hey, we got this. Okay. We're going to do what it's got to do. And you got to be ready for everything and knowing that life happens. And so when you're preparing yourself and saying life can happen at any time, you're not afraid of it anymore. No. I'm 38 years old, and there's so many things that I've experienced in my just little time here. And I realized, hey, I made it to the next day. And so guess what? Another day come, I'm going to say I can make it again. As long as I'm in my right mind. That's what I tell my children. If I'm in my right mind, I'm going to be all right. Okay. Yeah. And so that's what I love about my husband, because he's so poised. He's so disciplined. I'm the flexible one. I can go with the flow. And I'm like, hey, if he say, let's move back up north tomorrow, I'm like, hey, let's go. I'm with it.
And she's secretly plugging that. Let's move back up north. Hint, hint.
Yeah. So that's me. I'm just up and go with the flow. So, and that used to scare him sometimes. He's like, because things don't really scare me as much as it does.
I was like, I hope you know what you're flowing with. I just hope you know.
Yeah, but that's how I'm built, and my mom kind of raised me, got me used to that tenacity because of how she was, and we were always on the go, having to navigate change. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in DC, and then we was always traveling every weekend. So I was just built. I was built for the changes of life, and I won't let it tear me down. But this guy over here, he is so disciplined in everything that he does. Like the work that you've seen has been years and years of work. I met him in 9th grade, and he started a prayer group, and I was like, you're pulling me into a prayer group. Okay, to pray every morning at school. I got stuff to do. That was him. He burned his CDs in high school, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Why are you burning CDs? It ain't that serious."
But secular music didn't have that.
Yeah, he's dedicated. He's so dedicated, so passionate, and he studies. This man reads. He studies, and he just doesn't read on the surface. If he finds a book, he's gonna research who wrote this book. Okay, what sources did they have? Let me go read that. And that's why you get so much knowledge, because he pours into me every day. He pours into our children, and that excites me to read more, to learn more. I always love to learn, but just having a husband who lives and walks what he does, what he says, it's like, oh, I got to know more about life, and I want to know every subject, science. So I don't just study I wasn't into so far into religion where I studied it so much, but other things excite me: math, history, science, just life. And how can I add to someone? And when someone meets me, I want them to say, "Ooh, what is her name? I need to see her and know her every day. I need to hear some type of phrase from Darnaya because this lady keeps me going." And so you just give that.
See, Darnaya, it sounds like to me that you're saying Darante already slows down. And what you find, unfortunately, in our society today is that there's a lot of nuance. If the problems that we had were easy, they would have been solved a long time ago.
Yes.
Right? And so you actually have to sit down, do the work, research some things. Yep. I know that there's a lot of people out there who, well, this is probably for grow. I'll come back into this when it comes to grow. But let me just say, some things are not memes or bumper stickers or slogans or pills or quick little things. And it's a hard realization sometimes that that's probably your next thing, grow. But honestly, I wish people could be persuaded sometimes to take the time to listen, to learn, to read up, to become informed.
Yes. Oh man, I love it.
Much needed.
That is that perfect segue into grow. So not only are we slowing, but we're growing, and that's being intentional, right? I think I told Chris last week that up until this moment, I've really just been throwing spaghetti against the wall, kind of seeing what sticks, just watching. And it's like, okay, now, and that was, again, it's the paradox of time, right? So yes, I was recording every day, pretty much a 2-hour dissertation. But that's actually easier to do than to sit down and record a scripted video and then edit it down to quality. It's easier because when you just do it and you upload that bad boy, and then you go back into the meetings at work. And so for the time being, it worked, but it wasn't intentional. It wasn't strategic. And that was the paradox, right? Is that I didn't have the time for it. To have the time for it probably would have drove me even more crazier than I already was. And that's the interesting thing. Like, so I told you the announcement that came Wednesday, but what I didn't tell you is that Tuesday, I got up and sat in my wife's office and cried for like a whole hour, because that's how toxic work had become for me. I've had to fire so many people over the past few weeks. I've had to oversee things that I didn't feel were ethical. It was killing me. That's why when the announcement came, I was just like, oh, this is the right thing happening the wrong way, But so my focus, slowing, now growing. How can we grow intentionally? So I've looked at our subscribers and our views. I've looked at our revenue and our sales. I've looked at our donors and our sponsors. I've looked at our supporters and our leaders. Like, all of these areas are areas that we have to grow in. And we're moving out of that phase where growth happens accidentally. We had a real good year of accidental growth. It was nice. It was beautiful. It was fun. We all got the honeymoon kind of vibes off of it. But from this point on, this is where the structure happens. This is where the intention happens. This is where the strategy happens. And that can get scary for some people, because then, I find out most people aren't afraid of religion. They're afraid of organization. And organization scares people because you hear getting organized and you hear hierarchy. You hear getting organized and you hear authority. You hear getting organized. And the thing that I try to remind people is, we don't have to do things the way other people did things. We can use that information to organize better. That's the purpose of Bridge City, is to be a better way to connect. But we can't run from it. We got to be intentional about growth, right? Okay, so I'll slow down there before we go to the next one. So those are kind of my little tidbits. Do y'all have any thoughts on growth? And please feel free to share anything. I'm loving this.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say it's not necessarily easy, but it's always worth it. Just think about how far you've come from, like, your days of being just a sheep following along and not using your own brain and doing your own thinking. I mean, just think of how hard that was. I don't have a following yet. But I do have a fan. Somebody actually commented yesterday on one of the interviews that I did, and it was so affirming. It was like,
Wow.
you know, they were at a place where they were going through this process of growth. And I don't know, you guys ever watch, was it Last Week Tonight with John Oliver? He's like, when has growth been an easy thing to do? So you might as well be prepared that it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but it's going to be worth it.
I love that. I love that.
That's kind of my thoughts too. One of the things, there's a thing that's hard to see. It's what you said earlier about the just sitting down and recording a video, just ranting for 30 minutes and dropping. It's attractive. It looks, it's delicious. It's just right there. It's the low hanging fruit. But if you do that all the time, I know a guy who can give you an example, like 5 days a week, and you don't get much in the way of views from it. If it doesn't grow your community, you're just working your ass off for nothing. Yeah. However, like you were talking about, I know you're going to say you're going to have somebody else learn to do it, but I'm going to get you, man. And here's why. Because I can get it to where you can do this in 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
A total start, finish, editing, prep, everything. And what you were doing 3 hours, you were just doing that in live. And then that was an extra 2 hours of live, not counting all the prep you did beforehand. Yes. I mean, I know it seemed like, but then whenever you count the result from the focused effort, the concentrated focused effort, it'll take a little time for you to figure out. Now, in my mind, I'm about that same kind of growth with you. I want to get a system going, kind of a content creation system going where we, like you and I, or even Dr. Troy here, create content. Yes. We upload it to the cloud. We have an editor pull it down, do a basic edit on us, give it back to us, and we got a community that knows how to do these things. Oh, no. And if we could find someone to do stuff like that, that'd help me go on and do more of this or more of that, or because I've got all kinds of stuff going. I got Father Flanagan stuff coming up. We haven't even talked about. That's part of our growth. Yes, the Father Flanagan's products, and there's so much coming in that area. Oh my goodness. And to partner up with you and help those things come to fruition is just fantastic as far as the growth. The problem is like you were saying, maybe that's the key, because you're so organized. But what is needed is organization, and bring it into focus, into clarity. Right now it's kind of blurry. There's a vision there, but it's not clear. It needs to come into focus. And you've got some very keen focusing skills. And I'm going to use them. I'm going to ride you like Seabiscuit.
That's it. Again, there it is, that radical partnership, y'all. That's precisely what that is. Which brings us to this kind of third one, so we said we're going to slow, we're going to grow, but then lastly, we're going to go the fuck off. This is the time, I know people were probably a little scared when we said slow, slow down. What? No, no, we're about to turn the heat up. We're just being more intentional, more focused, so we can actually hit some things. And so I want to share with you all a little bit about what comes to my mind when I think of success. And I'm going to try to be as succinct as I possibly can here. I want to drive this point home of what success looks like for me, for this channel, this community, and this content. And so, I got to go back down. So the first thing is an annual operating budget. I know that's not a fun thing to talk about, but that's the beast. I'd be lying if I didn't start there. If I started this conversation after telling y'all I done lost my job and said what I see in the future is anything except for an annual operating budget, I'm lying to you, and you should know I'm lying. No, we don't have to play those games. Let's not do that. No, the first thing is, yes, we're going to need an annual operating budget, with something that allows us to support dedicated teams, something that allows us to support strategic missions, and things that allow us to support quality improvement. And that goes a long way. One of the things that I love, the exposure I've had over the past year has allowed me to work with a lot of other different organizations. And actually, I've fallen in love with the way the line operates in a lot of ways, because there's a lot of socialistic type of economic principles there, which I've been trying to push since 2014, But then there's also the people that they do bring on the show. Like y'all notice my equipment got upgraded. I didn't pay for that. Like, boy, I had no margin to buy. Like when I started, it was just my camera. It was just me in front of my phone camera. Like literally, that was it. And then someone else gave me, Stacy gave me that camera and this mic. And then when Jimmy invited me to be a part of the line, he said, yeah, what we do is if you don't have your own equipment, we'll get it for you. That's the power of community. Yeah. That's the power of having an annual operating budget. It's not just what we can do for us, but as we build our teams, people don't, it reduces the barrier of entry for other people to get involved. So then when we say, hey, here's somebody, they have the charisma, they have the conversation, they have the knowledge, there are things that they want to talk about. They just don't have the equipment, nor do they have the bandwidth. Because that's everybody wants to tell you, go buy this, go buy this. Y'all know I've had to like suffer through that shit for a whole year of random YouTubers telling me what I need to do, not knowing a fucking thing about my budget. You know what I'm saying? So, you go through that, right? You go through it, but you kind of got to survive it. But as communities, as we grow, that's a barrier that we can make easier for people. As we pull people on, those are things that we can do. Those are easy things. Another area is local campus teams wherever there's an interest. I am a little disappointed that we're having to push back on our Bridge City weekends for a while. I had already made up in my mind that come hell or high water, I was making those happen. I had a way to make those happen. That way went away. So now we have to reconfigure. And as disappointed as I am, I'm not disappointed. I'm actually even more excited because because of the registrations, we have more people in Raleigh that we didn't know before that we can build relationship with. And so we now have that opportunity to, in all of these target cities, to start building those hubs even before we get there. And so one thing, a measurement of success for me is seeing local campus teams, even if they're not full campuses yet, even if they're just meeting in somebody's house, but local campus teams, wherever there's an interest for this type of community. The goal would be for them to be meeting weekly, participating globally, and supporting locally. So for example, if Dr. Troy was a part of a local campus team in Oregon, he could be doing exactly what he's doing right now with the group in the background. And they're saying, hey, y'all, we're in Oregon. And they can participate in the conversation just like that. We have all different types of technology ways, but we want that. And then want them supporting locally. Okay, so what are some things that y'all can do in your area that shows people that you're present and that you're helpful? And those are the two biggest things that we need help doing in the secular community, is being more visible, present, and showing people that yelling at you is not the only thing we can do. Showing you how stupid you are, that's not the only thing we can do. We have a lot of other strengths. We can feed people, we can clothe people, and if we can show people those things, I promise you, people are not as complicated as we like to think. Sometimes the reason that they don't feel comfortable identifying with humanism or secularism is because they feel it's so staunch. And that becoming this just means I now have to hate all of this, which of course nothing could be further from the truth. But many of their ideologies about what atheism, secularism, humanism has been shaped by other believers, And so there's all of these other ideas. We can fix that by being visible. So that a part of that, and I threw this in there last, but a growing collective of musicians, singers, writers, performers, and dancers. As you can see, music is kind of a thing for me. But that is kind of the Bridge City strategy, building community around music and conversation, right? Because you see how even though we're separated on these Sundays, I'm just sitting in a corner with a keyboard with bad mics and everything. And that bags everywhere, like trash bags everywhere. But that moment still generates something. Now imagine what happens when we start getting more and more people together. And that creates opportunity for people who are artists and who are performers who do not have opportunity to use their talents and their skills. I'll remind people, like, we're not all just scientists out here. Like, we got other stuff too. Let's do damn, I want to shed out every now and then. So that's another thing. All right, and then my third one, and then I'm gonna shut up and let everybody else talk. Regional resource pipelines. All right. That's it. That like, this is the point, right? Y'all have often heard me say the goal is not to build community just to say we have community. It's to build community so that we can actually make a difference, right? So we can create a regional resource, a regional resource pipeline where we can have things like donated goods like clothing, furniture, equipment, lumber, whatever. When people are in need, you have no idea how far just having some clothes after you've gone through a disaster can, how much of a difference that can make. And then, all right, now, please do not take my business idea unless you're doing it with me. But I feel like a very big missed opportunity for thrift stores is when you take in these items, why not spruce them up? There's so many young people who are interested in design, interested in fashion, who could take two pieces of garment and make an entirely different garment. And so now you turn your thrift store into a boutique where everything that comes out of there is absolutely unique. And that gives people who feel like they have to shop there, which I prefer to shop at thrift stores myself, but it makes people feel like they have to shop there, that they're not getting a lesser experience. See, there's small things that you can do to make.
If I may,
yes.
Anybody, I'm sorry, man. Anybody who watches my show or watches me knows, my brother, they know that Satan compels me to steal your ideas. Ask them. It's part of the chat.
It's mixed fabrics. It's mixed fabrics too. You're gonna mixed fabrics.
Holy shit! That's a whole clothing line right there. That needs to be a whole clothing line.
Yes.
Sexy Sinner Seductions. I like it.
Y'all are too much. No, that was beautiful.
Ray said he played the key.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. But no, it's reality. Volunteer services like cleanups, food distributions, after school programs, deliveries. There's so many people, elderly people who can't afford washer and dryers, who live in apartment complex communities, can't get their stuff taken where they need to. These are little small areas. Just by making a difference as a secular community, you'd be surprised. Because I'm telling you, what I'm giving you, this is just a strategy Christians have used for the longest. It's the strategy Christians use. Because people's like, oh, Christians did that? Actually, I'll tell you the truth. My church used to use this strategy. We used to give out condoms at the clubs. And we did it for the shock factor. We did it because we knew that people said, no, Christians wouldn't give out condoms. And we was like, oh, this is the perfect thing to do. We're going to give out condoms, letting them know that we care about them and we want them to protect themselves. And so we're just going to be at that club passing out these Trojans for some and these Durexes for other folks. I could not help it. I had to make that joke. I'm sorry. But, we're going to be passing out these condoms. And that there were so many people who connected to our church over those little small random acts of kindness because they said, oh, immediately what that communicated to them was, you're not like what I thought about Christians. And that is something that the secular community needs to begin wondering about. What do people think we care about? And if the thing that they don't think we care about is people, then we got a problem. And so every opportunity we can demonstrate that we sincerely care about them in ways that don't overburden the community, it's smart. All right, so volunteer services, but also professional programs for trainings, support services, leadership development, grant development, community development, career development, financial development. We did a poll this week where I asked what were people's top personal challenge. For over 49%, the answer was finances. So out of all of that, we need more conversations about finances in the secular community. Then we need more things that are committed to helping us have these conversations like this. Here's, for anybody who don't know, here's a spoiler alert. What should the secular community be talking about? Everything that pertains to people, anything that pertains to the lived experience, anything that pertains to helping us improve day by day, whether it's us helping our financial health, our emotional health, our social health, if it's helping us just find joy in life, if it's entertainment is valuable, right? So I don't know if you know how many people are believers because of a movie they watch. Okay, because of a scene they saw in a show where grandma prayed and something happened, and now they're like, oh, we all believe in God now. You know what I'm saying? So like we I hate to take this thing from the Christians. They used to have the 7 mountains theory, where these are all of the areas they're trying to dominate. Look, the secular community needs to stop being lazy. Pretty much it's all secular. So anything that's dealing with people needs, we need to be talking about, we need to be working with, we need to be creating opportunities for each other. And this is honestly a passion area of mine, because since I've deconverted, I've been looking for the secular organizations that are committed to investing in and developing people who want to make a difference from an active position. And I haven't found that. Now, that has been a little disconcerting, that I've looked over and I'm like, I don't see any organizations at this moment that are committed to investing in new leaders, that are committed in investing in people who want to make a difference. Right now, all of the organizations, and I'm not saying this makes them bad, I'm just saying I'm surprised that I haven't seen anybody, especially considering what we're dealing with, who haven't made it their mission to find as many people who want to make a difference in humanism and secularism and support them and undergird them and give them training resources and give them opportunity, because that part is not the hard part. That's the easy part. And we need that. So a major part of our strategy is looking for people who are not content with sitting on the sidelines and finding ways to support their growth and development while plugging them into resources to build community according to their capacity. We really need to move away from the 4 horsemen model. We need to move away from the chosen few model and recognize that our strongest chances for a progressive society only happens when more people, not less, feel empowered and damn near obligated to start taking on a mantle of leadership or responsibility in whatever way that makes sense for them to help improve the world around them one step at a time. We need more of that. We need more people who feel on fire about making a difference in their community. It doesn't have to be that they want to start a Bridge City community. It may be that they want to start a feeding program. It may be that they want to do something for after school kids. All of it is leadership. And so we need organizations, when someone has that idea, when someone has that unction, someone has that inkling that there's somewhere they can go if they've never done it before, to say, hey, we'll walk you through this. We'll show you how to set it up. We'll invest some time in training you. We'll put you through some courses so that you can have the confidence and the competence, because we value you. We need the work that you bring. Instead of us just depending on old folk to keep carrying the torch, we keep creating that problem over and over again. Of course, Dawkins is going to say stuff that we don't like. Okay, his time has gone. All right, we shouldn't have set him up that long. We did that. Our fault. That's our bad. All of you got a grandpa that you're probably like, let's not bring him out when company's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was probably a great guy 20 years prior to that, but he's hit that moment. But that's the problem we create for ourselves when we build this community when we build it off of limitation. When we take it and try to make it, well, these are the great people, let's just focus on these great people. The message of humanism is that we are the great people. And so let's find as many of us as we can and support, period. That way we're not so heartbroken when someone inevitably says something that's disappointing. Honestly, I'm always surprised when people are disappointed that somebody's disappointing. I'm like, how long have you lived by now? People are people, All right, so did I say everything I needed to say? I think I did. Yeah. All right. Okay, so before we move to the conclusion, y'all, I know I ran through a lot in that last one. What was that supposed to be? Oh, go the fuck off. So I ran through a lot in that one. What are y'all thoughts? And then we'll close this thing out.
I gotta get unmuted. Okay. So
there you go.
I like the humanistic message because it applies to everybody. Everybody has needs. And I think when you're religious, you create a tribal situation. There's us, and then there's the other. And when you're real political, it's the same thing. You got the left and the right. And at the end of the day, like there's one team that everybody should be on, and that's the human team, right? We all have needs, and the more you concentrate on it, you said things like finances or whatever, art, just things that appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy message to receive. So I support that.
Man, that's beautiful.
You know, one of the things I think is that the way you've got this mission you're setting up, it has the echoes of the mission of a you don't want me to say it, but a church, right, like a secular services church, and one of the things I think is that I've thought this for quite some time is that oftentimes the people gravitate towards the church because it helps people. They believe. There's this belief that the church is going to feed and help. And so you got people who will literally go to the church place because they want to be helpful and good. Now, to provide a place for people who want to do that doesn't have a God is fantastic. You know, I've been pushing you on that since we've been talking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in one fashion or another. We haven't said it this time, but I've been calling you I've been like, the wife's like, Darante who? I'm like, the pastor, the atheist pastor Darante. She's like, oh, that Darante. The one building this secular, non-religious community for those people who embrace and miss and love that kind of community, but don't want the stigma and the hate and the othering and the God.
All of the great philosophers, all of them say you can have the benefits of a religious community or dogma or religion or whatever, and just not have to do, fairy tale superstition. And that's your whole method. That's it in a nutshell right there. So
wait till they get a load of you, brother. Wait till they get a load of you.
Oh man. I cannot wait to see what we do and how we continue to build as a community. I'm excited for people like y'all who are on our team. I'm excited for people like Kyle, who's always in the background. I'm gonna do my best to get Kyle more and more on camera. But she's literally always in the background helping us run so much, like with what we're building and how we're committed to supporting each other. Because I think that's one thing I've always made clear about, like, the goal isn't just to, like, Bridge City isn't great unless the other communities that are connected to Bridge City is great. That's what makes it Bridge City. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal, and I'm just to give you a little, this is a marketing thing. This is a marketing thing. If people who connect with us, if their stuff falls off, it's not great. If people who connect with us, their stuff increases and we all increase at the same time, do you know what type of messaging that sends out to the broader community? It sends that, I think I told Chris, it's almost like physics, where you have two things that have their own gravitational force. They have their own individual gravitational force, and then they pull each other into each other. It increases that gravitational force. That's physics, and it's a beautiful thing. That's the work that I want us to do here. This is why every time I invite anybody to participate, I always make clear, please promote your stuff. Please don't feel like you got to stop doing anything to do anything with us. We don't have to do things the way that the old model did things. We can work together. We can empower each other. And that's what I want to see. I do want to thank y'all so much again for being on with us. This is our first time doing this on a Sunday session, of actually just bringing some folk up during the conversation, but I absolutely love it. We're going to drop you all back into the back again, but we'll wrap up in a few.
Pleasure was all mine. Thanks, Darante.
Love y'all, man.
Yes. Well, I hope one of the things I got from today, though, I hope you all got from today, is just the power of your pivot. Knowing when to pivot, knowing how to pivot, knowing why you're pivoting, and think of your pivots ahead of time. Be prepared. Like in life, we have to learn how to pivot, and that keeps me going just in general. But as we look ahead, it's clear that the path forward will not be without its challenges, right? But as we've discussed throughout this series, we are more equipped more than equipped to navigate those obstacles and those challenges. So we've been through hard times for sure, individually and collectively. We've experienced setbacks, but what matters most is how we rise from them. How do you get up? How do you stand on your 2 feet, if you will? How do you stand on your hands, on your toes? However you stand, how do you do it? And every one of us has the capacity to bounce back, to turn adversity into an opportunity, and to continue pushing forward in the face of opposition. This isn't just about surviving. We said it earlier, but it's also about thriving and building something meaningful that will outlast any momentary setback. And what I love is that that comparison. When you think about the bow and arrow, sometimes you got to have that pressure, that pull, and you feel like, oh, I'm being set back. But remember, if you let go and knowing where you're going to rise, if you got a target, hey, put the arrow to the target and let go and rise and fly. And so, yeah.
And I want to thank you, Kurt, for that super chat. That is beautiful. $4.99 last chance super chat. I love it. And the mission of Bridge City Global is clear: building community beyond superstition that is progressive thinking, people-centric, and life-affirming. Our commitment to growing this movement, to creating space where individuals can find their strength and purpose, remains steadfast. But growth isn't something that can happen alone. It requires all of us. Each and every person who's connected with this community, who shares in this vision, has a role to play. Whether you're just starting on your journey or you've been with us from the beginning, you are a part of this mission. You are a part of this movement that will help us reshape the narrative and push forward in building a world that values the collective and the individual, that values people over profits, and that values community beyond division. That's the type of work that we are committed to do. And so the next steps are here. The die has been cast, if you will. It's time to rise up. Let's continue to build, expand, and grow on purpose. Let's continue to break barriers and form connections that are stronger than any force that seeks to work against or tear down. Now more than ever, it's time to step into our sense of leadership, take responsibility for the change we want to see, and recognize that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. So together, let's keep rising, because when we rise together, we are unstoppable. Let's make this movement something that no one can ignore, something that transforms lives and shapes the future. The work is just beginning, and we need every single one of you to be a part of it. So let's rise, let's fight forward, and let's build a future that is truly unfuckwithable. And of course, as I kind of do every week, if you're looking for a community to join and you want to join this community, let us know in the chat. We love to get you connected to our Discord. And probably that's the easiest way, is to just join our Discord. So we're just going to drop the Discord link in the chat, get connected with us, and we'll continue to build together. And that's all I have for now. That's good stuff.
Yes. And we're going to bring Dr. Troy back up to hit us with some support.
Yay.
Very good. Yes, they give me the segment known as support. Thank you for being a part of this community and these conversations that are helping us grow as individuals and as a community. If it hasn't been made obvious yet, we're serious about making a tangible impact, and your financial contributions can empower us to accelerate progress and development in key areas across the globe. If you value these conversations and the work we're doing as a global community, we've made it easy for you to support. You can go through the Patreon, Super Chats, lots of them today, purchase merch, or any other links in the description. Your tax-deductible donations are used to support the mission of building community beyond superstition, both locally and globally. If you're giving through PayPal, we'd like to highlight a few of the options that are available to you. You can support directly Darante LaMar and Darnaya Darice. You can support content production. You can support community development, community missions, campus activities, and the Help and Hope program. We have a link to the chat and QR codes for anybody who's willing, that's going to be on the screen, to be able to contribute to any one of those specific areas. Before I get out of your way, every week we try to have a poll in our live chat to learn more about our live audience. If you haven't already, please go ahead and check that box that most closely matches your situation, as this helps us understand how our community is growing week over week. And I don't actually have the percentages, so I might have to send it back to you guys for the new viewer percentages and stuff. But thank you for your support.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Troy. And today, Darante forgot to put the poll, but we definitely going to make sure we have it next week, because we love seeing that, how many it's your first time, or if you're been recurring and returning back. So you can drop in the chat if it is your first time, but we appreciate you. If you don't know, I am Darnaya Darice, first name, middle name, okay? And so you'll see me once in a while, but I appreciate you for supporting my husband, supporting yourself, and most importantly, supporting each other. So thank you so much for joining today. And keep in mind, these Sunday sessions, we love to see what you all are talking about. So thank you for your comments. Always remember to be mindful that everyone is not going to think the same. Everyone may not always agree, but that's why we have conversations. That's why we discuss. And always remember that disappointment does not have to lead to disconnection. Okay, that's whether if within yourself, within your family, within your friends. You may not always agree, but look at the common goal. And the common goal is to build better community, is to show how you can respect one another, how we can treat one another. We must be the example, okay? So we don't tolerate nonsense. I don't tolerate it, because Darante may not say it, but I will call you out, okay, beloved, because I want you all to know how to love each other, how to understand each other, how to respect each other. So thank you so much for participating. Don't forget to come back after the live and leave a comment once the live is over. It is greatly appreciated, because that helps to get the visibility up as well. Also, as a reminder, let us know where you're watching from. If you haven't already, drop your city and state in the chat. Where you at? Where you from? Okay, we'd love to know so we can add it to the map and see where everyone is. And eventually, maybe we get to come to where you are and hang and just get the vibes going together. Oh, I see Vegas. Hey. Never been, but want to go, okay? So we appreciate that. Also, Kyle has been dropping links of our Discord. Make sure you join our Discord so you can continue to build in conversations. Oh, I see Delaware. That's where my grandfather's at right now. I see Charlottesville, Virginia. Hey. Thank you. But if you're not in Discord, go ahead and click the link and join there, because that's where we hang out. Sometimes we used to have game nights going. Maybe we'll start that back if we get interest in that. And you get, just get more conversations there and continue the conversation as well. Thank you, Dr. Troy. Thank you, Chris. Their channel links are also in the chat. Make sure you go subscribe and support. Everybody is contributing to make an impact in society in different ways, and they all have different aspects and value to bring. So make sure you support them as well. And if you have any other news that you want us to shout out, I see San Diego in the chat. Y'all Southern, those in Cali, y'all be representing on Sundays. Come on with it. I love it. But if you have any promotions you want to do, in our Discord, we do have a channel that's like promote stuff, and just hashtag Bridge City News or Bridge City Global, whatever in there. We'll love to announce it on Sundays. Okay. All right, loves. Well, I hope you have a great week this week. Whatever you're going through, I hope you stay encouraged, stay uplifted, and always remember to keep rising, and also remember to be the bridge. Peace 2 times.
Yeah.
I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. Yeah. I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. Let me tell you how I know. I had to get up off the floor. I had to get it out the mud. I had to finally let it go. I know my mama told me so, but she could never really know that when a boy was getting older, that his mind was getting sober, yeah. But I'm getting closer now. I had a church, but I closed it down. Had to reverse the emotions. I had to apologize. Selling eternity, willing to die. I was just living a lie. Walking by faith and ignoring the sight. Better off rolling the dice. And what I'm saying is that I'm living and I've learned. I've given and I've earned enough of my concern. And if I'm living, then I'm living on my terms. Call it a lesson learned, but it's finally been confirmed. I finally got the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. Yeah. I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable. I finally found the agency to live in my authenticity. Ooh, I got my own autonomy. You could never bother me. Yes, I'm unfuckwithable.